Good morning. It's me again, and this time I have another Chinese story for you. So I will say hello to you in Chinese. Ni hao, shao panyos, which means hello, my little friends. Okay. Now this story was told to me by my student Lorna. I can't pronounce her Chinese name, and it comes from her hometown in the southwest of Shimen County in Zhejiang province near the city of Jiangshan. And she said this to me. Near my hometown of Jiangshan there is a mountain named Mount Jianglang. This mountain is famous for its 3 huge steep cliffs which reach directly into the clouds. Dense woods blanket the mountain slopes, and in the clearings thick green grass and clusters of wild flowers grow in abundance. Long, long ago, in ancient times, this mountain had a different shape, and it stood like a soldier guarding the entrance of the gorge that led to the eastern sea. At the foot of the mountain stood a little farmhouse with a curly roof. It was the home of 3 teenage orphan brothers. Jiang Lang was the eldest. Jiang Ya was the middle brother, and Jiang Ling was the youngest. The boys earned their living by farming the land and hunting in the forests that grew up the sides of the mountain. Sometimes they went fishing in the eastern sea and in the mountain streams. And when they went to the beach and cast their nets hoping to catch some sea fish, they were always very respectful if they found the sea fish, and they would leave the best of their catch on a rock for the Dragon King of the Eastern Sea to say thank you for giving them a good catch and allowing them to fish in his sea. Now, for the sake of simplicity, we will call the boys Lang, Ya and Ling, because Jing is their family name, and in China the family name always comes first. One lovely spring morning, when the cherry blossom was at its best, the brothers decided that they would go hunting on the mountain for meat for them to eat. So they set off with their hunting nets, their traps, and their bows and arrows along the muddy track that led from their farmhouse up the mountain. The brothers walked for a very long time, climbing higher and higher and higher. Then as they turned the corner in a path, they heard a very strange sound, and they stopped to listen. "Sounds like somebody's crying," said Lang. "Up here on the mountain," replied Ya. "Nobody comes on the mountain except for us." "Who could it be?" wondered Ling. "The nearest town is miles away from here." "Let's find out," said Lang. "We must be very quiet, otherwise we might frighten whoever it is away." So the brothers crept forward slowly along the slippery, muddy path, stopping every so often to put their fingers on their lips and say, "Shh." They turned the corner in the path, and there in a little pavilion with a curly roof sat a beautiful young girl crying. The brothers hurried to the little pavilion and sat down on the bench next to the lovely girl. "Oh dear, what is the matter?" asked Lang. "Are you hurt?" asked Ya. "Can we help you?" asked Ling. "I'm lost," sobbed the girl. "I can't find my way home." And then she started to cry even harder. "Oh, don't cry. Please don't cry," begged the brothers. Lang unwound the orange headscarf around his neck and gave it to the girl. "Here," he said, "wipe your tears. We'll try and help you find your way home. But first you need to eat and have some rest. We will take you to our house. It's just at the bottom of the mountain. See, you can see its curly roof just down there," said Lang, pointing down the mountain to the little house with the curly roof. Who are you? asked Ling. I am the youngest daughter of the Dragon King of the Eastern Sea, replied the girl. Really, I'm a dragon princess, but I want to be a human girl forever. I like the world of men, and I want to live here on this land as a human. Ah, said the brothers together, and what does your daddy think about that? He doesn't know, and he would be very angry if he did, said the dragon princess. You see, I am his youngest child, and I am special to him because my mother died shortly after I was born. Well then, special daughter of the Dragon King of the Eastern Sea, we will take you home, announced Yar. The three brothers showed the dragon princess the way to the Eastern Sea, and after that she often visited them in their little house at the base of the mountain. They went fishing and hunting and walking together. Time passed, and gradually the little dragon princess and the youngest brother Ling fell in love and wanted to get married. For a time they were all very happy, but when you're at your happiness, something always seems to disturb that happiness. Not far away from the little house with the curly roof lived a very old and ugly toad. And he controlled an evil army of shrimps, crabs, swordfish, sharks, and jellyfish. He was known as General Toad, and he was unbeatable. Now the Dragon King wanted more power, and in order to get that power, he had to bind General Toad to him with ties of family. So he promised General Toad that he could marry the little dragon princess in return for fighting the other kings and emperors and getting more and more land for him, the Dragon King of the Eastern Sea. General Toad was delighted. The Dragon King called the little princess into the throne room of the Shell Castle that stood on a rock out in the middle of the Eastern Sea. I have arranged for you to get married to General Toad, he said pompously. Oh, Baba! How could you promise me to that ugly old creature? Cried the little dragon princess, tears running down her cheeks. If you loved me more than riches and power, you would never, ever, ever have done this to me. I am your father. You are my daughter, and you will do as I command. You are mine to do with as I please, and you will marry who I tell you to marry. The Dragon King spoke sternly, blowing smoke through his nostrils. The little princess could see little flames of anger flitting between his teeth, and she knew she had better shut up. I will run away to my friend's house beneath the mountain, thought the little princess. I will tell Jiang Ling all about this terrible thing that my father has done. He and his brothers will protect me from the terrible Toad General. I am sure they will, because Ling loves me. That night, when all the creatures who lived in the Shell Palace were sleeping, the little dragon princess climbed to the topmost tower of the Shell Palace, and she spread her dragon wings and flew off to the little house with the curly roof. Oh, Ling, what am I to do? Wailed the little princess. I do not want to marry that terrible Toad. I love you, and I want to live with you and your brothers forever. Darling princess, little dragon girl of my heart, you lit the flame of love in my heart the first time I saw you. Do not worry. I and my brothers will protect you from General Toad, said Ling bravely. But you'll have to fight General Toad and his wicked army. I'm afraid you're going to get killed, wailed the little dragon princess, throwing her arms round Ling's neck. Come, said Ling, be brave, my princess, and help us get ready for the invasion of the sea creatures. The brothers and the little princess worked very hard, preparing nets and stones and other things. General Toad was very, very angry when he heard that the little dragon princess refused to marry him and that she had run away. He sent out spies to find out where she was hiding, and it didn't take him very long. He gathered his army of sea creatures and marched on the brothers' house. He was determined to kill them and force the little dragon princess to become his wife. Nobody, not even a princess, will stop me from doing what I want to do, he thought. If I marry her, then I will have the Dragon King of the Eastern Sea in my power, and I will either kill him or just make him into a puppet king, and I will pull the strings. I do, however, rather like the title of General Toad, King of the Eastern Sea. Perhaps I will kill him after all. As he marched, he grew more and more terrible in his rage, and when the army arrived at the brothers' house, they surrounded it and started to prepare for battle. The three brothers hid the little princess in the cellar and told her to stay there no matter what happened. The little princess promised to obey them and begged them to be careful. The three brothers came out into the courtyard of the house and yelled to the Toad General outside the walls, "Go away and leave us alone. We will fight you to the death for the little dragon princess. She belongs to us, not to you." The battle raged for hours, but the brothers were resourceful. Using their large fishing nets, they managed to catch the shrimps and crabs, and these creatures they killed very quickly by crushing them with huge stones. Then they fought the swordfish with their own swords and managed to damage the fish's swords. The swordfish slunk off back to the Eastern Sea, their swords bent and broken. "I will punish you severely for deserting my army," yelled General Toad. After a while, all the soldiers were dead, and only General Toad remained. But he had one more trick up his sleeve. He was not going to let the brothers win. He whispered a spell that caused the water in the Eastern Sea to rise up in a great wave. It seemed as if all the fields and houses would be submerged any minute. What could the brothers do? Lang flew to the gorge and tried to block the oncoming sea water with his body, but his effort was in vain. General Toad kept whispering more and more and more spells, and the huge wave was followed by an even bigger wave, and then an even bigger wave. "We must do something to help Lang," called Ya, racing for the gorge. Running after him as fast as he could came Ling, and together they jumped into the gap and helped Lang to block the rising waters that threatened to destroy the farms and houses beyond the gorge. Finally, the seawater stopped swelling and crashing against the three brothers. Hearing no noise, the little dragon princess left the shelter of the cellar and came out into the courtyard. All around her were the bodies of the sea soldiers, and among them she found General Toad, quite dead. "But where are the boys?" she thought, as she started to search for them, but they were nowhere to be found. "Lang, Ya, Ling, where are you?" she called. "Come out and stop playing hide and seek with me." But there was no answer. No matter how much she called or how hard she searched, she still could not find the three brothers. Finally, she sat down on a stone and cried. Then her father, the Dragon King of the Eastern Sea, came flying by, and he saw his daughter sitting there crying, so he flew down and sat next to her. "Stop crying, little one," he said, putting his arm around her. "Come home with me, and I promise you will never have to marry anyone I say you have to. You can choose your own husband." "But I want Ling," she said, her eyes brimming with tears and her lips trembling. "I won't go back with you until I find him and his brothers." "They've turned into cliffs that block the gorge," said the King of the Eastern Sea. The little princess stared at her father's eyes round in disbelief. "Don't believe me then," said the Dragon King. "Go and look for yourself." She looked and burst into tears at once. "How can they be cliffs? I can't believe it." "They saved many people from drowning," said the Dragon King. She rounded on him. "You caused all this, Baba. I will never, ever, ever forgive you for this, ever," said the little princess coldly, turning to face her father. "You do not love me at all. All you wanted was power. You do not know what love really is. You are such a controlling freak. Your family are possessions to you, and you think you can dispose of them as you like. Well, you can't dispose of me. That's my news for you." All of a sudden, the little dragon girl started changing, not back into a little dragon, but into a cuckoo. She flew off, and her mournful cry, "Ooh, ooh, 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 ooh," could be heard around the cliff that was once her beloved Ling. And to this day, cuckoos can be found on this mountain in springtime, calling "Ooh, ooh." And from that time to this, Mount Jianglang has remained blocking the entrance to the Eastern Sea. Well, I hope you enjoyed that story. Now you can see, like other folk tales, this is also explaining something that happened. Okay? See if you can find out exactly what it was. Alright. 再见, ciao panyons, which means goodbye, my little friends, in Chinese.